Laughing, learning, absurdity, and skill building. I've been building my skills at video and audio production. But where's the splash? Oh, the splash is up here. I brought in my friend Chris. He's here to help commentate. You know that. This is episode 10. If you stumbled on here and you don't know what we're doing, you're in the wrong video.
Go back.
Go back. Chris, we've been sent on a fetch quest.
That's right. We have to fetch a number.
We have to fetch a number.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting because this is one of the only fetch quests in this entire game.
That's good because fetch quests are garbage.
They are garbage. And Final Fantasy games, they're not the worst, right? But they kind of invented fetch quests. I mean, Final Fantasy 1 had go get the key to unlock the door to get the treasure to wake up the volcano. I don't know. I don't remember.
Have you ever played Dragon Warrior 3?
I did 1 and 2. I don't think I played 3.
Well, we could talk about it a little bit.
All right, we'll talk about it a little bit. Why don't you start that?
Maybe the most literally epic fetch quest ever conceived.
I want to hear about this. Hit the video. Let's
Boom.
Boom. All right, we're getting started. And then I want to hear about this.
Like right now, or do you want to?
Oh yeah, we can
We're
talk.
Also going to talk about how we've recorded the first several minutes of this video already once.
Hey,
Speaking
remember
of
the
learning.
ramp part? The ramp part of Ramp
That's
and
right.
Splash is about learning.
That's right.
Right, and so I learned a valuable lesson about hardware and hardware.
You know, I feel like you crossed like a gate. You know, like you leveled up or something. That's like a rite of passage, I guess. You know, I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and it was like maybe only the 7th or 8th episode of their podcast, and there's like a crackling sound for the entire episode.
Now, we should also point out that I also recorded the first 10 episodes already. Realized the whole thing wasn't working. And then went back. And you and I recorded the first few episodes from that, realized it wasn't working, and went back. So each time you screw up, you learn.
We're ramping super hard.
those are super hard ramp moments. In Magic, we would be casting
explosive vegetation.
It explodes. Exactly what I was gonna say.
Nerd. Hey, I can't remember if I posted this or not. I got a base layer angel for Odrek.
Yeah.
She's a big old pile of keyword abilities.
She's beautiful. She's a powerhouse.
Yep.
Okay, tell me about this fetch quest.
Oh yeah, so in Dragon Warrior 3, so you know how like in every JRPG, including this one, spoiler, you're gonna get some kind of mode of transit, like a boat or an airship or whatever.
Yeah.
The sailing ship in Dragon Warrior 3, you get through what is essentially a fetch quest, but it's kind of like a literally world-spanning like paperclip game. You know the thing where like the guy supposedly takes like a paperclip and trades it up for something else and then something else and something else.
The great material continuum
or whatever. Yeah. There's a Ferengi episode about it in Deep Space Nine. You do that with, I think it's like 4 or 5 items that you have to get across like a globe spanning like overland route.
Jeez.
That is basically like the map in Dragon Warrior 3 is meant to look like Earth's map, and the route you take on this is basically the Silk Road.
Oh.
You go overland over like quote unquote Asia. But what you get at the end of these trades and this massive overland route that really over time teaches you the geography of the game is a bag of spices.
Who's there?
And you bring the bag of spices back to Fantasy Portugal, and they give you a boat in exchange for a bag of spices. So it is a fetch quest that takes probably 8 hours to complete.
They're trying to reenact history.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. It's a really good game.
Speaking of history, I love that story though. I'm all in. Speaking of history, we're fighting a minotaur inside of a maze
Sure.
here.
And you just made him float.
I just made him float. So he has a regen ability. As long as he is touching the ground, he regenerates. You can. He's tough. When you don't float him, he regenerates pretty quickly and he's tough to kill. But you get him up in the air.
Yeah, I don't remember the rate at which they regenerate. I actually I forgot about it until you mentioned it. So.
Yeah, it's about 200. It's 150 or 200 hit points per turn. Oof. So it just kind of nullifies one attack from your party.
It's got life. That's pretty good.
Life is a major level up in this game. Yeah. Because up until now, we've only had Phoenix Downs.
Well, in life junctions really well, and I don't think it has like an upgrade, does it?
Strong.
Like,
no.
There's not like a life vaga or whatever. Like,
there is a full life ability, but it's in Selphie's.
Yeah.
Renoir's limit break and Selphie's limit break both have a full life effect. I don't think it's a spell though. Could be wrong, but I don't think it is.
So that was pretty weird. That seemed like a boss battle.
Then he ran away.
And we should probably remind folks that when we were told about this place, didn't somebody tell us that if you go in any further than the beginning, you're likely to get killed?
Yes. And you are likely to get killed. There's a fucking minotaur running around in here.
I've read House of Leaves. I know what's up.
Oh God. Yeah, and actually,
that's not a spoiler. House of Leaves will tell you there is a minotaur in its pages on the first page.
Doesn't House of Leaves have all sorts of stuff, like plays with the text itself and has stuff in the margins and yeah.
There's like a story within a story within a story, and it's actually funnier than it has any business being. It's ostensibly a horror story, but it plays a lot with like text. Yeah. But like it does so in a way that's kind of unsettling. Like on the first page, where most books have like just the publishing information, like just the technobabble. Yeah. This says like, you are holding the second edition of the House of Leaves, and every instance of the word minotaur appears in red. So the book literally tells you on the first page, hey, there's a minotaur in this thing.
So remember,
when things start happening, you have that in the back of your mind going, oh no.
when I worked at Barnes & Noble in 2009, 2010, I think that's a few years after it came out. It was still really popular.
It still is.
And so we had to stock it every morning. There would be new copies coming in, and we were selling them all the time. So I shelved it a bunch of times, and every time I shelved it, I'd open to a page and be like, that's weird. Flop it closed and weird. Put it on the shelf.
If you open to like a random page near the middle, it might just be like a highly constrained box of text.
Yes.
Only in the very middle of the page. Or whatever. Yeah,
yes.
It's pretty wild. I recommend it. It's good.
It's on my list. So flan. First of all, they're called flan, which is funny in itself. Are in almost every Final Fantasy game, but the rules around the flan are different in different Final Fantasy games.
Isn't it? They're usually kind of like this one, right? Like you gotta hit them with magic, or they're
you have to hit them with the magic that they're vulnerable to. In this one.
Oh, yeah.
And each one is randomly vulnerable to a different element. So you got to try fire, and then you got to try blizzard, and then you got to try...
You can use scan.
You can use scan. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are they... Oh, yeah, okay.
See, fire didn't do anything.
In other games, like in 4 and 6, I think they are colored.
Yes.
So that, like, if it's a red one, it's like attuned to fire, so you want to use like face on it or whatever.
Yeah.
I either didn't realize that about these or don't remember it. Probably don't remember it.
I think they were in 13, which is the game that I tried most recently. Didn't finish it. and they were vulnerable to magic, period. And they were invulnerable
Yeah.
to physical damage, but they weren't. It wasn't a specific element. It was just magic.
I think that's how they are in the OG in 1. Because
Really?
they're all the way back to that one.
I
And I
didn't.
think you just hit them with anything. Like a flan in the cover.
Well, like a regular dessert flan, you have to hit it
Yes.
with. You have to hit it with magic, right?
I usually hit my dessert flan with spoons.
With a spoon.
There,
I use
before Hell World time started,
Yeah.
we used to go to a Chinese buffet in our local city, and for some reason they always had flan, and I loved it. It was the cheap Chinese food buffet place was the
Ooh.
only place in an otherwise like Franco-American area
Right.
that it could
Yeah.
get flan. It was really weird.
Oh, it's so good. So this is interesting. This is an interesting area because, I mean, most Final Fantasy games and JRPGs up until this point in history were they all had lots of mazes, but the mazes were fairly simple, right? You have 2 or 3 branches. One takes you to the exit, and the other 2 or 3 take you to treasure chests, right?
Right.
And they tried to do that in Final Fantasy VII, and it just kind of came off as a waste of time. It's like we're trying to save the world from mech weapons. Why am I crawling around in a cave? And like for a piece of material that I already have 4 copies of. What are we doing here? That was my impression. I'm being extra
Yeah, I mean,
snarky.
every once in a while it was worth it because you get like a really broken weapon. But yeah, usually it was like, what am I doing?
What am I doing here? In this game, they took out, for the most part, almost all the mazes. And then they stuck in a few and said, okay, if we're going to do a maze, we're going to have it be a maze. And this one is literally like, everything looks the same. You don't know where you are. Kind of maze.
Right.
And then we'll stick a minotaur in it. Well, if you want mazes, fans, we're going to give you the maze. The labyrinth. I find that such an interesting tack.
I think it's such a great idea.
Tack to take, right?
I mean, we have seen no treasures, like treasure boxes. The closest thing to treasures you can find are draw points.
Yep.
But all of those are spells you can get from battles later, if not present.
In some sense,
So yeah,
I think this particular maze has rewards at the end of the pathways that are aesthetic. Like the thing with the wheel, it's just this beautiful scene of like a stone doorway and a water wheel, and the other one had a little waterfall on it. Yeah, I realized I was going the wrong way here.
yeah.
So I had to turn around. Did you see Blade Runner 2049?
I haven't yet. I know you recommended it really highly.
Mm-hmm.
A few other people I know did, and I just was reminded of it. I was listening to Unspooled,
Oh yeah.
the film podcast,
Yep.
and Paul Scheer, whose opinion about movies I've come to respect quite a bit. He's a comedian, but he's like a really well-educated film dork. Like
Yes.
he really knows his stuff about movies, and he spoke really highly of it. Like it was one of his favorite movies from like the last decade.
Yes. Yep. So
And I mean, so I was reminded of it, so I'm probably gonna watch it again sometime pretty soon here.
do it. I can't recommend it enough. If you don't like the movie overall, I could understand. But there's one aspect of Blade Runner 2049 that is absolutely undeniable. The lighting is incredible. There are lighting effects in that movie that I've never seen in any other movie ever. and just the use of color and the use of light is undeniable. It's unstoppable. But one of the scenes, there's one. I think it's an office building, might be the bad guy's office. I don't know. Where overhead is a water tank, and there's a light coming through the water tank. And so the characters are mostly lit from below with like electric lights, just regular ground lights, but they're also lit from above with this flowing blue light. And is it blue or is it red? Doesn't matter. It's fucking amazing. It is a lighting effect that I've never seen before. It's incredible. And then I just realized while we're watching this, they have it right here. You look overhead, I assume it's supposed to be like a glowing blue algae, like a phosphorescent algae or fluorescing algae. But it's a watery blue light that's coming down from above. I mean, just spectacular. I know most people don't judge movies by the lighting, but
I think it's
a weakness
really
for me.
important, right? I mean, movies are sight and sound, and you get all the sight from how it's lit.
You see there up in the top, it's like it could be cracks in the ceiling, and that could be the sky. But we saw that as kind of a ziggurat, so maybe it's fluorescent algae.
Yeah,
I don't know. Beautiful.
We did it. We solved the puzzle.
Oh boy.
That's it. And it didn't take 3 hours of dicking around in dead ends and getting treasure chests full of potions we'll never use.
You can spend a lot of time in here. And you can get lost too.
Right. The trick in this dungeon, in case the viewer can't tell, is that the map reorients, not the map reorients, but
the perspective.
The camera's relative to behind you all the time.
Now's your chance to run away, mortal.
Man, this guy's a major idiot. Ooh, I accidentally used Laguna's voice there. So this fight is a real challenge.
Yo, bro. These guys crashed the tomb. Plus, they attacked me.
Oh, really? They attacked you? Not bad for a human.
He's surprisingly small.
Bro, they're making fun of us.
Foolish humans. I'll show you not to judge a book by its cover.
Oh, yeah. Isn't the joke here is that the little one is...
He's tougher. Yeah, he hits harder.
He's like the big bro.
I realized only now that the voice I gave him was a Conan O'Brien voice. I'll show you not to judge a book by its cover. Oops, I went.
Ooh, he does hit. Like,
I went straight into the red on my mic there. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, he hits real hard.
So we finally saw that regen you're talking about. That is pretty hard to deal with.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Isn't this like a Hercules thing, right? Like,
it does come from a Greek myth. One of the Titans couldn't be hurt as long as he was touching the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Hercules. Some hero lifts him up and lets his friends pummel him.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds vaguely familiar as, I think, a Herculean task.
So. Notably, they used it later in Justice League comics. It's when they go to Wonder Woman's island, Paradise Island or Themyscira.
Yeah.
They have to fight, and the Superman lifts him up so that Wonder Woman can wreck him.
So again, these guys are optional, right?
Totally optional. We could have turned around right at the entrance and gone straight back with the number.
Jeez.
Yeah, he hits like a truck.
I'm probably gonna see a limit here at some point. At least you can draw a life from that. You're probably gonna need it.
I'm gonna need it, yeah.
Float wears off. That's
Yeah,
nasty.
it only lasts around. Oop.
Oh, this sounds bad.
Yeah, it's not great. It only lasts like 4 or 5 rounds. I think only 4-ish.
Jeez, that's hard. I mean, you gotta. So you can't. It's becoming kind of operative, maybe in this battle. First, we haven't really needed it too much before this. You can't multicast. You can't.
No, not yet.
You're in trouble here.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't. With an asterisk here, you can't do what you can in, like, say, Final Fantasy VI and just hit one of the shoulder buttons and multicast, right? There's a way to multicast, but it's like a separate thing. You get access to it.
Yeah, and I do have a few copies of the spell Double, which allows you to do that, but I think Selfie has them, honestly.
Because, boy, that would really help right here. Because having to blow 2 actions on getting these guys up off the ground is really annoying.
Yeah, and here we're going to cast Life for the first time in the game, so that's kind of a landmark.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before about the being at critical health puts you at a much more likely ranged nature unit. Life brings you back with exactly that amount.
Yes. Yeah, good point. Good point. The problem is the 2 of them are both hitting twice per
Enough
turn.
One shot. Somebody at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're in trouble here.
You're not wrong.
Are you gonna die here?
Well, you're gonna have to find out.
Just realizing that's a very real possibility. I mean, it's not really anything against what you're doing because this is supposed to be really hard. Right?
It is supposed to be hard.
You're not over leveled. You haven't like done like a big grind. You know, steamrolling the game at this point. So
I will not be the first person to die at the Brothers.
Right.
Right.
That's my point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That prick at the general's mansion told you.
He literally said, if you go further, you will die.
Right.
Yeah.
So he might have been a prick, but he's right.
He was right.
So,
Yeah,
it
and
looks like
just to tell the
she's
audience.
She's carrying doubles.
Is she?
Yeah.
So we could have done double and then cast Life twice, but I honestly don't know that would have.
I don't think it would do it. I don't think it would matter at this point.
No.
I think you're probably past point of return.
Yep.
Maybe next time.
I could have cast it at the beginning of the combat, but honestly, you don't go. Yeah, right. You don't go into a combat saying, "Well, I'm going to need to cast Life twice."
Right.
Right. You don't go in with that kind of negativity. Yeah.
Casting
I died.
casting float twice in one action would be good.
Yeah.
Casting protect.
Yep.
Because I think I don't know. I think all of their attacks at this point were physical.
Physical.
So that would help.
I think you're right, and I think I might actually use double here because we have to do this again.
Right.
We're not stopping. Nothing. There's no way to stop this train.
We have plenty to blather about.
Plenty to talk about. Yeah.
Right.
I think in the second round here, I think I might use double, but I'm not sure. I definitely took some time to junction to draw some extra magic to heal up before the combat. Yeah, you'll see.
Float!
I do like this is like maybe a, I don't want to say a lost art, but it is an often forgotten kind of skill in designing these games, is like context clues.
Yeah.
Really, that one's a really simple, really blunt one,
Yep.
but it's there, right?
Yes.
The game telling you how to solve the puzzle. You have to figure out what that means.
I think I decided to go do the one-on-one, well, the 3-on-1 combat first, and then do some leveling.
I was thinking about this the other day, and I think we were talking before about how most of the GFs in this game are optional.
Yes.
If you just go through the game getting only what the game gives you, you will end up with like 6 or something.
Yeah, well, you do 3 for sure, and then if you draw them, I think you get maybe 8, and then you have to search for the others. Yeah.
But there's a lot. I mean, sorry, there's a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, this game is just like a blank to me in some places. Like, there's great big chunks of it that are in my memory, but like I have had no reason to recall it in so long that it's just like buried. But something reminded me of one of the optional ones here that I won't spoil, but it's extremely silly and awesome, and one of the best Guardian forces in this game.
I don't know which one you're talking about, but
it's in a desert.
Yes. Okay, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. He's great. He's great. I was thinking about there's another one that's hidden at the end of another maze. That is, it's a linear maze, which I think was just a delight. Well, it's a linear down. You take a maze that goes all the way down.
Don't know.
And there's 2.
I think I know. I know.
There's actually 2 GFs at the bottom that you can get, and it is itself a maze. You have to manage your resources to get there.
Yep.
To where you're going, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to return to the like design philosophy of these mazes, like, I really like that there's one big reward at the end and no bullshit. Just like, if you want elixirs or whatever, you'll get them from fights or whatever, you know.
You'll get them from fights or whatever.
I don't know, like
what do you need them for? What do you need?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know at what point in the game's design or revision this happened, but either in the first place or in playtesting, you must have realized.
Bastards. This isn't over.
They must have realized, like, listen, the game necessarily has a little bit of a grind, right? Because you've got to draw spells from enemies. That's like a fundamental thing in this game. So, if an RPG player's time is like budgeted, you know, somebody's only going to play this for so long. Yeah. They're only going to have so much patience. You can't have them waste time drawing spells and also make them waste time going down dead ends to get like some bullshit. You know? They just said, listen, all the time you're gonna spend tooling around in this maze, spend it in the combat, so you're already getting into getting the stuff that you already want to get, and all the items and stuff you get from the end of battles, everything you get from battles. So
Did you?
And the only rewards you get from mazes are like major
rewards. Entire Guardian forces. Yeah. Did you play 13?
Is that lightning?
That is lightning. Yeah,
I did not.
That's the first.
I haven't had like an up-to-date console in like 10 years, so.
Yeah. I bought it when it came out. When did I get my PS4? 2011.
Yeah,
I bought it at the same time. I finally tried playing it last year, and I hated it. I just hated it. And part of the thing that I hated was that they did that exact same kind of design. You're going along a corridor. It splits in two. You follow one, goes to a treasure box with 100 screws in it, and the other one keeps going through the story. And then you come to another split, and you can go left, and this time left gives you not even an item, but like ingredients to make items when you get to the crafting station.
And you're getting random encounters along the way. I mean, 13 is more real-time fighting. Still, you're dealing with hassles along the way.
That's right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's a drag.
I remembered thinking, like, what when this design went out of fashion in the year 2000. Why did you take this enormous step backwards in design?
Man, you know what game? Like, I liked this game in a lot of respect, so I'm not going to knock it like super hard. Although, I mean, I'm about to knock it super hard. So.
Do it. Hit it.
But
hit it as hard as you can.
After this point, I probably won't. 10. Final Fantasy X has some atrocious mazes in it. They're not hard to figure out. They're just tedious. They just take forever. Even if you know exactly what you're doing, it's like all the those what do they call them? Temples or whatever?
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Okay, the temples, I will defend the temples. They were very puzzle oriented, and I like puzzles.
Yeah.
But
I like puzzles, but I only have so much time.
Right.
No, like holy crap. The one in the like fantasy Vatican City, like oh god, that one I felt like I was there for like 30 hours.
You're like riding conveyor belts, right?
Yeah. And even if you have the strategy guide or are on the internet and you know exactly where to go, it still takes. It felt like I don't know.
Do you remember?
Like the beginning of, oh god.
Do you remember in I think it was maybe 2002? We were living together in a dorm room, and we had two TVs.
Yeah.
I was playing Final Fantasy X on one TV, and I was trying to dodge lightning. Is it 200 times? Because to get Lulu's ultimate weapon, you have to dodge lightning 200 times. I was dodging lightning, and we were watching the Super Bowl. It was January, and I got to like 150. I think I was certainly over 100 to get to 200. Or I was more than halfway. Whatever the number is, I was more than halfway there. I'd put like an hour into this, maybe 2. And then someone scores a touchdown, and I look to see, what's everyone cheering for? And then I smash.
Yeah.
I get smashed. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was brutal. Holy crap. Yeah, I mean, everything about that game is tedious. Like, all of the mazes were all tedious. The optional stuff, like getting all the ultimate weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, we'll make you solve a puzzle or whatever to get this ultimate weapon, but the puzzle was always like the most tedious version of whatever you'd already done.
Yes.
The lightning dodging thing was like, hey, remember that thing you had to do like half a dozen times like 10 hours ago? Yeah, do that literally 200 times per hour.
To get Wakas, you have to play an entire season of Blitzball. Not like 10 games. You have to play a full it's like 24 games of Blitzball.
Listen,
you have to run the league.
Blitzball is a sport of kings. I will not have you besmirch maybe the best part of that game.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, God.
There are good things about that game.
Yeah, I started this
There
segment
definitely are.
talking about how I wasn't gonna really put Final Fantasy X on blast, but listen, that game isn't very good. There were parts of it I really liked. I really liked
Yeah.
the
Combat. Turn-based combat where you could see the initiative order.
Yep.
Was so lovely, and when you picked a different attack or a different move,
it moved you around in initiative because some things have like a cooldown.
I thought I loved that. I loved
That
it.
was really cool.
Yeah.
And I liked the idea of the sphere grid system, just not its implementation.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because it was like maybe the most well-designed, elegant bait and switch I've ever seen in one of these games, because it looks like, oh wow, there's so much you can do. There's this huge grid of abilities.
And you can
Around
multi-class.
on it.
You can send your characters down 2 different paths.
Just kidding.
Nope.
It's pretty much linear.
Except for, what's his name? Kamari? Is that his name?
Yes.
Kumail Nanjiani?
Kimari, if everyone in that game were like Kimari in the geography of their part of the sphere grid, it would have been a great game, or at least that part of it. But the voice acting was still a little bit dire. But yeah. So I think I'm done smashing that game over my knee, but I'm sure we'll talk about it.
I gotta point out that the lack of a world map really hurt that game.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get a spaceship at the end, or an airship, don't you just go to the navigation panel and punch in the place you want to go, and then you appear there?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound like an oldie kind of person about this, but like, it was missing a classic Final Fantasy aspect, right?
Yep.
You get your airship, you want to like bomb around it. Like,
Well, so 12 had the same thing where it was a world map. There was no world map, but the whole map was the world map.
yes.
What was the transportation gimmick? Was it a teleportation pad?
No, it was an airship.
Oh. You
'Cause
never got to
that
fly
game
it.
was about, well, the game should have been about the air pirates, right?
Yeah.
Balthier and Frog.
Yeah.
They had like
That's-
an airship and were cool, and then the main character was the least cool character in the party and had nothing to do with the main plot. The main plot had to do with what's her face?
Yeah.
I forget her name now. Darn it! I want to say Dagger, but that's Final Fantasy IX. You know that one.
Yep.
The princess, the like
princess.
warrior princess. Yeah, she's like a paladin. She's cool and everything. She was cool, and her retainer was cool, and the air pirates were cool, and the orphans had nothing to do with the plot at all.
The thing is, like, I like a viewer insert character, right? I like a blank slate who is my
Your
avatar.
Luke Skywalker kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
At least the beginning of episode.
at the beginning, yeah. But I don't. You're supposed to get integrated, right? Like
Right.
2/3
Like
of the way
Luke
through.
Skywalker.
Yeah, right. You start out as an insert character, and then
Like in the first 45 minutes of A New Hope, Luke has to be told, let the Wookiee win or he'll pull your arms off.
right.
By the end of that movie, let alone, his trilogy, he doesn't need to be told stuff like that. Like,
Hmm.
and that never happens with Bond. He's just a blank slate.
It's interesting. Squall is kind of that way in this game, except he has this excuse of not knowing anything because he's so single-minded. Like when you're being explained things at the beginning, like Quistis is your teacher. She's supposed to teach you things.
Right.
And you're an 18-year-old, like, self-obsessed, angsty, tunnel vision killing machine.
Yeah.
You don't know about geopolitics because you haven't had to. You've been in high school.
Yeah. He's the type of person he is not really tuned to care, but also his personality isn't either. He's very like standoffish. And,
Yeah, exactly. So here I went and I did the initial battle against Minotaur, whichever one's the big one. I drew a bunch of magic. I came back to the save point, and now I am refining items to boof up the magic. I've rejunctioned some stuff. And this time when I fought the initial battle, I had everyone draw life. Where in the first battle, it was mostly just Quistis drawing life. So now they all have a few copies of it. Yeah, and I think I gathered some more AP. I did some extra battles here. I don't know if that made a difference, but
I think you can do this. I mean, Zell is pretty underleveled, but I don't think that should matter too much. The levels in this don't matter as much as
yeah, not all that much. He still punches really hard.
A lot of that, we talked about this, I think, a little while back, is like the Final Fantasy games where the monsters level with you, and it makes the levels less important.
Yep.
We were having a conversation with our buddies online about 9 recently, and one of us reminded me that there are runs of like level 1 runs of Final Fantasy 9, where because you don't get XP from bosses, they're the only like story necessary battles. You can run from every random encounter, acquire no XP. The problem then becomes like you only have a finite amount of like AP that you're getting from the bosses. So you have to kind of budget it and figure out
and your AP,
how much am I going to get when, and what do I equip, whatever.
Yeah, and AP in that game feeds into the weapons and armor that you have equipped to give you.
You have to have the very right things equipped at the very right times.
Oh.
Otherwise, you fall behind.
Oh, that's interesting.
You get screwed.
Hello, Flan. That will be the one and only Adam Sandler impression today.
You can check that box for the day. It's your daily Adam Sandler.
Check.
Speaking of daily Adam Sandler fix, I have been listening to a podcast called The Worst Idea of All Time.
Yeah?
You heard of this?
No. What is it?
So I'll tell you very briefly how I found it, because it's quite a weird, circuitous read. I listened to a bunch of the McElroy's podcasts, like the Adventure Zone and My Brother and Me and Sawbones.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, I heard about their like once a year podcast called Till Death Do Us Blart.
Okay.
Or simply Death Blart. Where two of the McElroys, alongside these 2 New Zealander comedians, will watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2
No.
once a year on Thanksgiving, every year until the end of linear time.
Nope.
They got this idea from the New Zealanders. Their podcast is the worst idea of all time, and the title is accurate.
Oh no.
They watch one bad movie every week, the same movie every week for a year.
So 52 times they watch a movie.
Yes. And they've done it like 4 times. I'm listening to the 2nd season right now. And they watched Sex and the City 2.
No.
Which is a movie that came out 10 years after the show ended.
Yeah. It was a flop. It was notably
Oh yeah. And
notably a flop.
having listened to about 30 episodes of this, I now more than fully understand why. Like, it's awful. That movie is almost 2.5 hours long.
Oh, good lord.
And when they announced to their like Twitter followers like what they were going to do for the second season, their followers like warned them and said no, like that's too much for your thing. Anyway, the reason I mentioned it is the first season they watched Grown Ups 2 52 times.
I've heard some people say that Grown Ups isn't that bad, and I don't know about Grown Ups 2.
I think compared to Sex and the City Part 2 or whatever,
Sure.
It's probably Casablanca, but yeah.
Oh, that's good.
The podcast is definitely not a deep dive into the movie in any real sense of the word. Every episode is like 45 minutes of like tangents. Like they have a running plot about a rat king that they like imagined going on in the background of the plot of this movie. Like it's bizarre.
Oh, it's amazing.
I think my favorite segment is there's this one extra that for some reason the first time I watched the movie really like zeroed in on this guy because he is an extra with no lines. He is drinking a coffee in the background while the girls, the main characters like talk in the foreground. And because of how the edits put the scene together, he appears to finish 4 cups of espresso in about as many minutes.
That's so funny.
Like he appears to be taking the last gulp of a little cup of espresso, but he does it 4 times. So the extra clearly didn't know how to act like he was drinking a cup of coffee right now. But they imagine that like this guy is just like, damn.
Yeah. Chris, I have a really important question to ask you.
Sure.
You have to be expecting this question. How you've listened to several episodes of this season. Have you watched Sex and the City 2?
No. And I never will.
How can you listen to 52 episodes of a podcast about a movie you haven't
Glen,
seen?
I can tell you every granular detail about that movie, having never seen it.
You just never saw it. I
can tell you the first 45 minutes of the movie take place in New York City, and then they go to Dubai. They have an adventure, a racist adventure in the desert, where all these like white ladies like Karen all over everyone in the Middle East. Like it's awful. Like it's really offensive and bad. But yeah, no, it's great because I don't have to watch it. Not that I was ever going to.
But you're making yourself listen to it. That's almost as
funny,
bad.
Though. I mean, if it were like 2 film critics talking about it 52 times, I wouldn't listen to it. There's 2 comedians, you know, like.
Yep. I have to go back to Paul Blart. Taking one step back. Have you seen Kevin James's YouTube movies that he's been putting out since the beginning of COVID?
Dear God.
He's been doing like, he basically said, okay, if I'm not going to make any real movies, I'm going to get all my friends who know how to who do video editing and special effects, and we're going to do a series of mini movies.
Okay. And
we're going to put them up on YouTube. And I respect that choice.
Oh yeah.
Right. If you're gonna be stuck at home, and he involves his kids, and I think he involves his family, and like they make these funny movies. The problem is when I watch them, I'm like, this is just shy of funny. It's just shy of funny, and it's just short of shy of good. It's like 80% of the way to funny. One of them, I've watched probably 5 of them. One of them made me laugh once. You know what I mean? And for somebody whose career is entirely built on sitcoms and comedy movies, like how are you not making me laugh with every video at least once per video?
If it was like Humphrey Bogart, like made me laugh once, that would be like, that's good.
And
because he's not a comedian.
Yeah. Well, he was funny.
Yeah, he's actually way funny.
He was a funny man. There's one Kevin James video that stuck with me that was like, it was a nature show, like David Attenborough nature show, but it was tracking the wild Kevin James. Like Kevin James is in the wild. And so it had like daddy Kevin James and mommy Kevin James and baby Kevin James, and they were out in the jungle being hunted and poached.
Wait, were they all Kevin James? Or were
Yes,
they, like, him and
he was
kids?
wearing a furry suit, but his face was visible.
Oh my god, that's not what I thought that was going to be.
Yeah,
I really thought it was going to be like just him. You know?
It's a solid premise. It's a solid premise, but for some reason it doesn't land. And I have to be like, buddy, how did you get famous being the guy who can't land a joke? Because he's flying a good plane. Like, that's a solid idea for a sketch.
Well, you should, if you ponder that question as often as it sounds like that you do, you should do yourself a solid and listen to Till Death Do Us Part. Because it's been running for 5 years.
Oh.
So there are only 5 episodes.
Okay, all right.
And Justin and Griffin McElroy and I think his name is Tim Batt and Guy Montgomery are the 2 Kiwis.
Yeah.
They have watched Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 every Thanksgiving for 5 years.
Good God.
And record a podcast.
The other day I was hungry for Shakespeare, which is interesting. I used to be really into Shakespeare, right? I acted in Shakespeare plays and I read it and I watched the movies and I loved it. And I've been craving it for like a year now. I want to get some good Shakespeare. And there isn't much going on right now because of COVID.
Yeah.
I was like, somebody must be performing Macbeth on Zoom, right? It's just not happening as far as I can tell.
Huh.
Anyway, what I found out was that Travis McElroy and some other people started a Shakespeare podcast.
Really?
Yeah, I'll find the name and I'll send it to you. I can't remember the name now.
Chance to run away, mortal.
Speaking of Shakespeare, we're back.
This guy's a major idiot.
Bro,
Yeah, bro.
yo, bro. These guys crashed the tomb. Plus, they attacked me.
Oh, really? They attacked you? Not bad for a mortal. He's surprisingly small.
Yo, bro, they're making fun of us.
Foolish little humans. I'll show you not to judge a book by its cover.
Here we are, back again.
All right. Put your serious pants on.
you mean like Zell's shorts?
Yes. Put on your serious Jinko jeans.
His Jinko Seed jeans. Those are Seed issue Jinkos though. You got those at the dispensary.
Yes.
Whatever it's called.
Commissary.
Commissary. Yeah. Dispensary is where you go to get the drugs. You know, maybe in a world filled with child soldiers, maybe when they say potion, they actually mean amphetamines.
Sure.
That's what the Nazis did, right?
That's correct. Oh, so you're just going whole hog.
We're going whole hog. I mean, you'll also notice that we have more hit points. It's fully healed. It's better junctioned. I find, and this is probably how the game is designed, that for a while when I'm playing a JRPG, I'll just coast through it. You don't bother equipping the best thing, and you don't need to get every spell. You just, as long as the bosses keep toppling, you're like, it's fine. I'm doing great. And then you slam into a
Every once in a
wall.
while, you hit a snag.
Yeah, right. And then you have to stop and pay close attention to what you're doing.
So there is like an auto junctioning function that you've used before, but sometimes it isn't as optimal as you might want it to be.
Yeah.
It's usually fine, but you can juke things around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little bit more bang for your buck. Double.
Oops.
Yep.
I did cast double.
Yeah, having the GFs summon more often, taking hits for you is
It makes
doing some work here. Yeah.
Makes a huge difference. Yeah. Was that? I think that was Protect that I cast on Squall and Quistis. Also, 700 damage is a lot of damage.
Ooh.
Oh, bro, I lost.
Oh well, yeah, this is over then.
Yep.
Jeez, because they can't use that team attack. You never even saw it this time. With that out of the picture,
It was Cure. It was Cure.
I mean, he just can't put out enough damage.
No, he sure cannot.
He's a lot stronger than his brother, but he's not by himself. It's also going to be easier to keep him in the air. You can dedicate 2 actions keeping him in the air. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, this is maybe the first time we've seen like, I don't know, that kind of ruthless economy of time. You see, like some of these like really tactically difficult battles stripped down to like where you start seeing like you can start calculating like, okay, I only have so much time to do this many things. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what broke down the first time, was you just got outpaced.
Yep.
Here you hit them so hard so early.
The brothers,
Yep.
defeated. Almighty ones, may we join you?
A little bit of Wallace Shawn. I love
Quark! Where's my beetle stuff? It wasn't very good. I can do better.
That's pretty good though.
It was
Whoa,
not.
you got 40 AP for that? Yikes. All right.
Yeah, the ability that Ifrit just learned there, strength plus 20%, it's going to go right on Zell, and he's going to hit just so hard.
Oh, yeah.
Powerful ones to have defeated the two brothers. Thanks to you, I am now free from this cramped stone coffin. However, there has been something that I've been thinking about for a very long time. Is it really necessary to entomb those traveling to the other world? After such a long and tiring journey through life?
Just a hint of Alec Guinness. I just
Like,
watched.
listen, okay, we'll cremate you next time.
Seriously. He wasn't questioning his own entombment. He was just questioning entombment as an ethos. You'd think he'd be grateful. This whole ziggurat was just for him.
I know, right?
Yeah, I had just watched The Bridge Over the River Kwai. That movie's so good. It's just so good. Yeah, it's interesting. That battle is really about being either on the back foot or getting your opponent on the back foot.
Yeah.
That like
It's
once
very
they
tempo-based.
it's tempo based. Once they had me backed into a corner, all they had to do was just hit and hit and hit, and I was done for.
Yeah.
I think we're going all the way back to Daling City here before the video ends. But then the same thing was true on the reverse. Once I had them on the back foot, they couldn't do anything.
No comeback. Yeah. I mean, like I said, late in that battle, we never even saw the mad cow attack. Like their team attack. Smashed Saber before they did that. Get some screws.
Oh, good lord, do I want some screws.
Yeah, you're not able to get screws yet. Do you have to mug these guys, or what? Like?
You can refine their card, which is a good way to do it.
Yeah.
They do drop them when they die, but yeah, mugging.
You just haven't really got them yet.
So, speaking of refining cards, the next episode, Chris, is a bonus episode. I don't know if we want to record it now or we can wait till next time, but it's a bonus episode that is 100% triple triad.
Yikes. Oh god.
There's also some grinding to get card mod. You can see we're at 44 out of 80 AP here. So we need 36 more AP to turn cards into useful things. God.
What's neat about this game and gates, like every game like this has gates, right? Like things that the game puts in your way that you can't cross until you pass certain points at the bottom. Whatever.
Yeah.
The GFs don't have gates. Your access to them, I guess, is gated, but once you have a GF, there's nothing stopping you from just getting all their abilities. So, like,
just time, right? I mean, do you want to? Because the most efficient way to get AP is to defeat boss battles.
Bosses, right? So I think that was designed correctly. Like, you just got 40 AP from others.
Yeah, that's a full half ability or a third of an ability.
And you're getting like 1 to 3 AP. It's like random encounters. Like,
these bird things each give 3. So when you get into the combat that's 2 bird things, that's 6 AP.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's efficient later when you have things like, say, like status attack, death, where you can just junction 50 death to your attack, and then 50% of the time you attack somebody, they die.
I'm sorry, Chris, did you say attack? Because I'm pretty sure you said mug. Did you say, say mug? That's the best. You get death on attack, and then you give that person mug, and you just... I'm going to take your thing, and you're going to die instantly. It's just...
Right. Good stuff.
It's poetry in motion.
So yeah, this is exciting. We have the attack on the sorceress coming up.
Yeah, big plots.
There's triple triad coming up.
Ooh, big plots, big cards.
We have the super serious assassination mission.
Yeah.
But first we have to go play some Magic the Gathering.
Are you saying it's irresponsible of these teenagers when the fate of the world rests on their shoulders for them to go around challenging random people to card
That's
games?
Right. Listen, you hire child soldiers, and sometimes you just get children.
Oh boy, this is the end. This is the end. I want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank Chris for being here. We will see you all next time for 1 hour of Triple Triad. Thank you so much.